Okay, friends from all around the great planet Earth who are even remotely interested in cars and automotive stuff, guess what time it is? It's time for another episode of another
matrimonial episode of V8 Radio, Kevin.
Another matrimonial episode of V8 Radio. See, I got all excited. I almost skipped over the overselling adjective.
Well, I know, because mine are so good.
Yeah, wow. I'm your host, Kevin Ostie, joined as always by our esteemed co-host, Mr. Mike Q-Ball Clark.
What's the good word, my man, besides matrimonial?
I do, I guess.
That's 2 words. You're such an overachiever.
Yeah, well, I can't really count much higher than 3, so.
Amen.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good tease there, a matrimonial episode. And before we get into all that, for the couple people that choose to listen to the show repeatedly, they are aware of our trivia question concept, where we throw a question out in the beginning and then make people glide through the whole show before getting the answer. Have you prepared said trivia question for this episode?
Glide through the whole show. That's nice. Yes, I have prepared a trivia question today, sir. All right, and here we go. What? Okay, here we go. Sorry.
Okay.
Take 2.
Here we go. Now we got it. Here we go.
All right, Kevin, what car line first offered the in-car radio? And I'm going to give you some bonuses here, some achievable bonuses here.
Oh, good.
What year did it come out? And for an even super awesome bonus that's just going to blow the welds off the intakes, how much was that option?
Wow. Ooh. All right, so this is an original installation, like OE.
Correct, from OE from the factory.
From the factory. So radios were available in cars at some point. When was that?
Correct.
All right, so that's a good question. I believe anyway that aftermarket radios were first. I think like Motorola, perhaps, and Philco, maybe, those companies made add-on radios that were, and then the OEs kind of adopted it. And I believe that was in the 30s. So I'm going to say 1935 or 36. 36. 1936 is the year. The manufacturer, this is a tricky one because, radio at that point was, probably more prevalent in the U.S., so I'm going to guess that it was an American company, but I could be wrong. So let's just say it was, I want to say Cadillac, but I'm thinking that ain't it. I'm thinking Chrysler. Maybe it was a 1936 Chrysler, and it was a $12 option.
So Chrysler and 1936, and it was a $12 option. Okay. That has been duly noted.
Yeah, that's all wrong.
You've said that before, and you've been pretty right, but we'll find out.
This one isn't right.
This one really isn't right.
No, I'm pretty sure this one's not right. Wow. Well, so once again, I'm giving you a softball here.
Oh yeah, your softballs hurt. It's
Well,
like a 12-inch softball at full speed, not a nice 16-inch Chicago softball.
Yeah. This isn't as hard as what was the dashboard named after,
Yeah,
which I still laugh at, by the way. That was,
Yeah,
was
right.
really excellent.
Well, thank you very much.
You'll have to listen to our previous episode if you missed that one. It was good. Okay. You're aware of the Willys Jeep?
Yes.
And eventually the I guess the Kaiser Jeep, and then I think Ford made them first, right, for the military back in the way early days of World War II. And then eventually they became an American Motors product and then a Chrysler product. And there's all kinds of these Jeep abbreviations, right? So I'm hot off the four-wheel jamboree event that I was at last weekend.
Oh, right.
And I recognized also that last year, and we might have talked about this, but I was fortunate enough to co-host the SEMA Cruise, where 1,500 or 2,000 vehicles of all shapes and sizes come parading out of the SEMA show. And Joe Sebregandio and myself are tasked with color commentating, where you really got to know something about everything, right?
Right.
And my deficiencies of automotive knowledge have never been more pointed out by the motoring public as they were in the comments on videos from the SEMA Cruise.
This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah, this guy's horrible, and, And I took it upon myself to improve my education on the off-road world and the Jeep world a little bit, so that I know a little less, a little less ignorance. So the question is, what does the Jeep CJ stand for?
Ooh, man.
Ooh.
God damn it. Well, I was hoping you were going to say what did Jeep originally stand for?
Well, that's open to debate too, but
yeah.
There's a bonus there if you get that one. I'll throw that in as a bonus.
Oh, thanks, man. CJ, what does the Jeep CJ stand for?
Because there's the CJ, there's the YJ, there's the FJ, there's the
right.
JK.
Okay, yeah, just kidding. The CJ. Oh gosh, man. Okay, so it's gotta. I'm gonna think that it means it has something to do with its the level of its off-road capability.
The level of its off. Let me write this down. Okay, the level of its off-road. So, like, how?
Like maybe it would have the CJs would have I don't know, locking front and rear differential, or heavier duty suspension, or it's lifted higher than a YJ would be, for instance. Oh, brother, I'm really reaching.
Welcome to my SEMA Cruise experience. Now you just need about 5,000 people in a live audience and then millions online.
Right on. Oh, jeez. But your bonus, Jeep is historically was originally general purpose vehicle from the military, or GP. And that's how it got its nickname, Jeep.
General
purpose.
Purpose.
That's how I understand it.
As opposed to a GN, which was General Nonsense.
Yes, which is what I am.
Yeah, Sergeant Nonsense.
Major disaster.
Yes. All right. Okay, I think I got a handle on that. So we will see if you are correct, my friend.
Uh-huh. I think I can predict the future on this one.
You think so? I know I can. I'm way off. I know already. So,
oh boy,
the our overselling adjective, of course, was a matrimonious episode of
matrimonial.
VA Radio, right? Matrimonial, holy matrimonial,
holy matrimonial,
and it surely is, because we are about a week into the lifelong wedlock commitment of our friend Trevor Spence and his new wife Tricia. Trevor being a technician at the V8 Speed and Resto shop that we've referenced often on this show. One of our handful of listeners, also.
Yes, thank you, Trevor.
And you and I, and many others had the pleasure of being present at his wedding a couple weeks ago, and it was one heck of a time.
It was one heck of a time. You are absolutely right. That venue that they picked was just so perfect for the day.
It was
outdoors. At first, the sun was a little intense, but as the ceremony rocked on, the sun kind of dipped, and it was perfect. It was so pleasant.
Set the scene for
was
us,
fantastic. Well, you walk down a path to find the altar and the chairs, and I'm doing this no justice whatsoever. And I apologize, Trish and Trevor. But it was a beautiful outdoor scene.
The bigger context is it's a winery.
Thank you.
That was a converted farm, right? So this used to be a farm, and then they cleared parts of it. So you got kind of this winding path, that you're mentioning, and a clearing between some trees, and again the lattice work kind of altar and chairs and stuff. And they really played up on that winding path with the ceremony, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one thing that was really neat about this whole shindig was the officiant at the wedding, the fine gentleman who married these two crazy kids, one Kevin Ostie.
Yeah, the inefficient officiant. Yeah, well, that was quite a trip. So Trevor and Trisha had asked me if I would be their wedding officiant, and that was a heck of an honor. It's an interesting situation because I've known Trevor for years in a professional capacity, but I certainly consider him a good friend. And as he met his fiance, got to know Trisha as well, and it was one of those situations where they didn't require a very traditional religious ceremony, and they I guess I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, the motivation to ask me to do this. I guess I'm a known quantity to them, and I think it's pretty cool when the person giving the ceremony knows the people and knows what they like, and knows a little something about them to personalize the whole thing.
Exactly. It doesn't become a cookie cutter ceremony, and this certainly wasn't. So I think you did a phenomenal job at marrying those two.
Well, I appreciate that, and it was all legit too. I mean, I
oh yeah,
Kelly helped me get my official ordainment to be recognized by the Unification Church, right? The online one.
Is it the Universal Church or something like that?
Universal Life Church. That's it.
Universal Life Church. Yes. That's it. Yes. You are officially the Parson Brown now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so they give you a letter, and you do a little exercise, and you go to the county and the state and make sure that you're in good standing, and they sign off on it so you're legal. So it was all above board, which was
right on.
Many people there might not have thought that, but and they had presented me with some notes on kind of the ceremony they wanted, and of course, being a car guy, part of the fun was that Trevor has a '68 C10 pickup truck that he's been working on for a long time, and it's a very cool truck. It's an SS truck concept, kind of a what if. So it's got some Camaro style cues to it, a hockey stripe, and '68 Camaro SS. Ice cube tray, hood scoop inserts, and Camaro bumpers front and rear. And he actually cut the bed and leaned the tailgate forward and built a steel spoiler.
Right.
Between the taillights is blacked out like a big black, Camaro at the time, or Chevelle. So Trisha and her dad came down the winding road in the truck and parked the truck to meet, their waiting groom at the altar where I was. And it was funny because basically all the males that were standing up in the wedding outside of Trisha's brother, essentially was guys that work in our shop.
Yeah, yeah, that's
So
right.
it was, very deep into our business, but it was
Uh-huh.
nice because that all separated. You didn't feel like it was a work function or anything like that. And nobody
Right.
felt like they were there out of obligation because they worked with the guy.
Right.
Um, we are so insanely lucky in our shop to be able to have a group of people that hang out together anyway.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like to echo what you said, it even though everybody, all the guys there were from the shop, those guys are friends,
Hmm.
and they don't just work together. They do hang out outside of the shop, and they're cool with one another. And you're right. You are insanely lucky to have that, because I'm sure a lot of shops don't. It's just people go in, they punch the clock, they do their work, they leave, and probably say as little as they have to anybody. And but
Yeah.
but
And
but you guys don't have that.
there's no requirement in the workplace to be friends with everybody. I mean, that's not why you're
Right.
there. It's not
Mhm.
called going to friends every day. It's going to work every day.
That's right.
But if you work with like-minded people, and in our case, everybody likes to build cool cars, and that's why we're
Hmm.
here. So that hurdle's already crossed, and there is such a respect level between the team, and then a friendship level, and we really noticed it on Trevor's bachelor party. So this is another interesting one. I think this is about the only wedding in history where, the groom's employer was also his minister, who was also at the bachelor party, right?
Oh wow.
But it was
Nice.
it was more of a guys hanging out night of anything.
Right.
And we went to a place called Top Golf. Have you ever heard of this? This Top
No,
Golf
sure.
concept?
Yeah. I like Top Golf.
Top Golf is awesome. So it's a kind of a half indoor outdoor driving range where you drive from has heaters and protection from the elements, and then there's a giant green, if you will, that you golf into, but it's got a digital set of targets, and it knows exactly where the balls land, and it scores you, and they change colors, and there's music playing, and people are bringing drinks, and there's food and music, and it's just a really good time. And the system it's got a smart way of scoring, so there's a chip in the ball that coordinates to each individual player, and it tracks what order everybody goes in, and on and on and on. And I, I'm not really a golfer.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun. We all went and hung out, and it was, again, just a bunch of guys hanging out. I mean, it was a really good time.
Yeah.
So we're going to end up doing another Top Golf trip, I think, for the crew at some point, just because it was a fun thing to do. And then, of course, it culminated a couple weeks later with the wedding. So the challenge for me, again, they presented a very clean, nice, lightweight kind of ceremony that was typed up, and I kind of went through it, and the trick is you don't want to alter it too much to where you offend anybody, because it's not about certainly not about me, and it's not about how much you could screw this up. It's their special day. So, but I did want to try to tie things together a little bit and personalize it, like we were saying before.
Sure.
So it would have been way too easy to make this whole thing a car-related ceremony,
Oh, right.
as you guys, do the whole shot off the line and into your life on the back stretch, whatever. And we could have put engine parts in the car, but that's definitely Trevor, but that's not necessarily Trisha. She's not really a car person. So I had to kind of resist that urge. But one thing that I think is pretty cool is that Trisha's family is also very well known to us, to Kelly and I, and to our team, because they're contractors. Her dad and her brother are builders, right? So they're the ones that actually built our shop, did all the renovations and the expansion on our shop. And we've known them for a long time. And I thought maybe that's the way, so I kind of diverged from the script a little bit, if you will, and kind of tied together how Trevor likes to build and refine and tune, things and the cars that he works on. And Trisha comes from a long history of builders with her family. and together they can come together and build a life that they will continuously refine and tune, and live happily ever after. And luckily, she dug it, and Trevor liked it, and it went pretty well.
Yeah, I think everybody in attendance dug it as well. It was well spoken, well said. It was a great ceremony.
Well, I appreciate that.
You bet.
I only changed a couple words. The rest of it was somebody else. But, but not that I'm claiming to be some. This was my first wedding outside of my own. I didn't officiate my own, but I mean my first officiating.
First one you participated
job,
in.
Yeah. And I started to think it's like that was actually kind of fun, especially because I knew everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many types of theme weddings out there today. The Star Wars, and there's fictional characters and all that kind of stuff. Maybe there's an opportunity to do a more car guy wedding, and be officiated by an actual car guy.
I think you found a neat niche, man.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing it out there, So if it's a couple that both dig cars, obviously it would have to be both of them.
Right. Oh yeah, that would be a disaster.
Yeah,
otherwise. But that could really take off. I mean, as much as you probably don't want to admit it, you are a preacher. You and I mean that in the best way possible. You can really do that. You have a great eloquence in your cadence and how you say things and how you talk to people. You would be phenomenal at officiating car guy weddings.
Well, I appreciate that. That's two words there. Eloquence in my cadence. I might have to rinse that out or something.
That's my big couple of words of the day.
Yeah, I'll have to go look those up. Well, right on. So then I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say.
You bet.
And the reception was in a tent structure, kind of right back up the hill from the little clearing, and they had a good DJ. They had great food. They had enough to eat and drink, and
they sure did.
The crowd
wiped them out of Bud Selects.
Oh yeah, had a couple of them. And the crowd was ready. They enjoyed it. They had a great time, and so this is also an unusual wedding because there was an official dance floor and the unofficial dance floor.
Well, wherever Tyler was the unofficial dance floor.
Right, yeah, exactly. So the official dance floor was at the one end of the tent, right by the DJ and the lights and everything else. And then at the back, at the other side of the tent, was our crew, all dancing and going crazy all night.
Right. Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah. And calling
phenomenal.
out Tyler Dennison, our mechanic technician, and Brett Frankovich, who's a fabricator.
Brett.
The two of them. And Jonathan Clemens, another tech, also mechanic. Those guys tore it up, man. And,
they did.
And Kelly was going nuts for a while there, too. And
that's awesome.
Inside track there is she had ice on her feet until about Thursday after.
Really? Oh, that was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you actually, speaking of Kelly, you and Kelly both graciously opened your home to my wife Jenny and me to crash at your place while we came down there, and we really appreciate that. So
anytime,
thank you
man.
For that. Yeah,
anytime.
It's nice.
Our
it's
pleasure.
Comfortable there. I like it.
Yeah. Well, it was a great weekend all the way around. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So they Trevor and Trisha went on their honeymoon. They went to the Pacific Northwest, the San Juan Islands. In Puget Sound, and went to Mount St. Helens, and Trevor got to fly around on some planes, and they went on boats and
right. Did some whale watching out there? Yep.
Did some whale watching, and I don't think he got a ride on a steam train this time. That's usually a Trevor vacation requirement.
Oh yeah, I forgot Trevor is a big train fan. He really loves like old steam locomotives.
Oh, totally. That's his thing. Yeah. Trevor likes steam trains and plane crash videos. He really likes those too.
Plane crash videos. Oh, how macabre.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially when he gets on planes. He likes to
oh boy,
look up the crash record for the type of aircraft that he's currently on.
Oh man,
And it really makes people nervous when they fly in.
Well, that's funny you say that, because I do like to go through a bit of turbulence when I'm on a plane as well, and
You like that?
I really do. It's kind of weird. I was on a plane once. It was on a commuter jet, and it was hitting some pretty serious turbulence. And your cup of water on your tray table started floating and then dropping down. That's how violent things were getting. And I thought it was awesome. I figured, if we crash, it's gonna be over quick. It's not gonna be painful. So just enjoy the ride. Chances are it's not going to go down. So enjoy the ride.
I guess you're right. I often, when I get into that situation, the thing that gets me is a double-edged sword of logic, right? So I'll be on the plane and it'll start shaking and, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think to myself, this thing's been through this a million times before and it's still flying, right? It's just fine.
I know where you're going with this.
Except now, today, it's finally fatigued.
Yeah, exactly. Except now is the time it's going to snap in two.
Right, yeah. So, well, anyway, that Trevor and Tricia made it back okay, and he was back in the shop. And
is he? Good.
Honestly, he looked like he was kind of missing that honeymoon a little bit, but he's back. Mostly back in the swing of things. It's good to have him back, and I'm sure they're going to be great for each other. It's they obviously
really seem
already are. So
yeah, they seem to genuinely care and love each other. So that's a great start.
Yep.
So right on.
The V8 family has grown.
It has. That's
and the shop capabilities are growing at the same time. How about that?
I was going to use that segue. Nicely done. Oh, daggone
it. So this past couple weeks, we've expanded our under roof capabilities a little bit by adding a fully equipped interior shop to the V8 Speed and Resto shop as well.
That is huge news for the V8 Speed and Resto shop.
Yeah, it is. And at the same time, we've been kind of creeping into this because we want to make sure everything goes well.
Sure.
Essentially, what ended up happening is Jay, our fabricator who works in the back of the building with metal, was building some console and doing some retrofit work on a 69 Camaro console, putting modern 5th gen Camaro gauges into it and doing some fiberglass work and molding some pieces and wrapping some cloth around it and everything. And he's like, I really miss doing interior work. And I said, what?
Hey.
Yeah, and we knew that he had done this type of work in the past, but I think we made the assumption that he was burned out on doing it. Well, it turns out that he was burned out in the way his previous shop did it.
I see.
And not necessarily the act of sewing and creating things and soft material and everything else. So we said, well, what'd you like doing about that stuff? And he's like, I liked all of it. And he started whipping all these pictures of, custom seat covers he's made and door panels and headliners and convertible tops and vinyl tops and consoles and dashboards and audio enclosures and, fiberglass and sewing and French stitching and wrapping dashboards and wrapping steering wheels and, putting trim in everything. And, it's basically, you name it, hog ring, seat covers. And
sure.
And I said, well, if you've got this capability, this is something that we've wanted to bring in-house for a long time, because really the only thing left that we contract out is engine machine work. Just about everything else we do in-house, except the interior stuff. And to be able to control that, especially with a guy who's very talented and creative, and it's not just him. There's a couple other guys in the shop that also have had that experience, but didn't really have the tools or the equipment. So we were fortunate enough that where our employee break room is actually an adjoining house next to our shop that we own. And the front half of that had become vacant. We used to rent it out to a little t-shirt shop, and she decided to move on. So we had a space to do this kind of work that was isolated and clean. and quiet. And, of course, Kelly went into full tilt research mode about, some proper equipment. So
Right.
we picked up a used Juki, a Japanese industrial sewing machine,
Uh-huh.
and various different kinds of pliers and
Uh-huh.
hand tools.
Shears and scissors and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, right. Well,
Yeah.
and so electric foam cutters, to cut the
Oh, right.
foam and things like that. Some heat press devices and different kinds of things. And Jay Jenner just dove in head first and has been working on the front part of the 39 LaSalle cabin,
Oh,
doing some tune-ups on
nice.
that. And his work has been beautiful. It's really, really
Oh,
nice.
man. That's
So
good. That just makes you feel good, doesn't it?
it does, yeah, because it
Yeah.
was, there's always a risk
Uh-huh.
of investing in a division that
Uh-huh.
I'm not super familiar with. I mean,
Hmm.
I know how all this stuff is done, but it's not like I've
Right.
done a lot of it. But that's the way we try to run the business. That not necessarily that I need to know how to do it, but we put the right people in, that can do
Exactly.
it.
Uh-huh.
And as just kind of looking around the shop, I'm now convinced that we could keep Jay busy for months. Because there are so
Perfect.
many things to do that we have just been in the mindset to outsource, and now we don't
Nice.
have to.
That's ooh. Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well,
That's a great addition.
it is, and I think the other cool part about it is Jay, being a metal fabricator, knows how pieces are made.
Hmm.
He knows how they fit together.
Right.
So we've had experiences in the past where we'll make a custom door panel or something out of steel or aluminum or whatever,
Hmm.
and the person who makes it only works in the steel, so they build it to a certain tolerance. Then the interior guy's all mad because he can't wrap his material around it, make it fit
Right.
right. But now, Jay or Brett, our other metal guy,
Hmm.
might be making something, and now they're acutely aware that
Hmm.
this is going to be upholstered. So
Hmm.
leave the room, and if by chance the piece isn't the right shape, they go back in the metal shop and make it the right shape.
Yep. Yep. That's perfect.
You know?
That's a great marriage. It really is.
Yes. So then they also appreciate what it took to make the metal piece, that's getting wrapped.
Hmm.
Um, whereas we've had situations in the past where, a customer spent a lot of money to make sure that the inside of the doors were painted properly, and, it wasn't just oversprayed into primer, and there
Right.
was detail work done. And yes, it got covered by a door panel, but that wasn't the point. The point was that the customer knew that every surface of this car was done right. And it went to an interior shop, and it came back, and we had to readjust all the door panels because the interior shop didn't have that same quality standard.
Mm.
And we took the door panels off and found that the doors were all scratched up because they were just kind of jamming screws in, and the screw would slide, and and it's like, so we had to go back and repaint stuff, and you know
That stings.
right, that is
Hmm.
and all that's not an issue any longer.
Hmm.
And then I think it's just a better service to the customer when they can just drop it off at our place and not worry that it's going to go somewhere else to a third party.
Right. Well, there's one point of contact now for
Yeah, right.
for
Yeah.
everything.
Hmm.
So, say for the engine machine work, but everything else, you now have your thumb on the quality control of virtually every aspect of the complete restoration, and that is really what you're going for.
Yep. Yep. To
So,
be able to bring that service and that quality level is huge. And the fun thing is the upholstery team now, the interior guys, they are very creative, and they were real happy to. We got a little table set up with sample materials, and the whole thing. It's like going to that could probably stand alone as its own business, for crying out loud. It's self-sufficient. It's got all the tools. It's got everything it needs. Staff and everything else, and it's obviously part of our umbrella. But that's how
right.
complete this this venture is. It's not like, oh, and then we roll a sewing machine out of the corner and the guy sits there.
Right.
It's the real deal,
Yeah, you can't dip your toe in it. You got to jump all the way in.
Yep.
If you're gonna be a full service, offer a full service interior shop, you got to jump all the way in. So
well, not only that. So on the supply side, we've got some real strong relationships with suppliers that supply the raw materials, the foam, the glue, the clips, the bobbins and the thread and all the rest. And we've been helped by some really great people. One guy I'd like to mention in specific is Tracy Weaver at a shop called the Recovery Room, which is a brilliant interior shop. Yeah, it's a great name.
Yeah.
And they're Riddler quality stuff, and
really, oh boy,
he's several states away from us, so he's not like a competitor down the street by any stretch, but he guided us on decisions for material and equipment and things. He really shared a lot of experience, and he's like, look, we're all in this together. If he does well, we do well. We do well, he does well. The customers do well. Everybody wins. So there was no animosity, and we've known him for a long, long time. In fact, many years ago, before V8 Radio was a consistent podcast, I put out a handful of interviews every once in a while that were podcast style, but not to this degree. And he
not
was
to
one
this
of
level of quality, my friend.
No, we didn't have an industry guy,
Thank you, Ira.
Yes. But Tracy was a guest on our show long, probably 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have to dig that up. And so we really, appreciate him and a few other interior people around the country who said, hey, you might want to look at this and get this size needle, and, this is what you really need. And Jay also brought a lot of that info to the table as well. And bless this guy, because he's like trying to find the economical way to do it. He's not like, you need to bring the Steinway of sewing machines in, or I won't touch it. There was nothing like that. He's like, look, we can get away with this and this. And Kelly actually kind of went the other way, and she's like, look, if I'm buying this stuff and we're going to invest in it, we're going to get good stuff. So let's do it right.
Good for her. Yeah.
'Cause you don't need to get halfway through a project and have a tool failure or, materials, whatever they're going to do, break, or needles break, or, whatever. So, so it's all good. And so that the 39 LaSalle is the first project. And then we've got some GTO seats to stuff, and we're doing the vinyl top on that 67. It's like just about finished. It just needs the interior work to be done. Yeah.
Man, that GTO. Woo-wee.
Yeah, it's coming out nice. So I'm super excited. And now I'm starting to look around, like I said, and think, even on personal projects, I can hire us to make that convertible top boot for my Galaxy instead of take it somewhere.
Right.
And, far rather hire our own shop to do that stuff than, send it somewhere else. And
not just from a quality standpoint, but the optics look better too, that you're using your own shop for your projects rather than outsourcing something that you do already to someone else.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, totally. So that's very exciting.
That is exciting. I'm very happy that
I appreciate
this is happening. I mean, not that I have a dog in the fight or anything like that, but it's just cool to see the shop still growing and still evolving, which is fantastic, which is what you want to do.
Yes, in a manner that I didn't really expect, but it's so organic. It makes perfect sense to do this and grow in this manner, even though, again, we didn't expect it.
Right. Yeah, but that's when the greatest things happen, when you least expect it.
Yeah, we hope so. And kind of speaking on those lines of things that were unexpected, these days, like right now, we've been working on what has been described to me as trying to do one of the world's ultimate car shows on the moon.
Summer of Kevin lives on.
Yeah, right. So the latest chapter is, the internet has spoken a little bit about this event, but there is a car show that's going to happen in Saudi Arabia, of all places.
That's crazy.
It is, and I'm gracious because I've been asked to participate and be part of this car show in a hosting capacity, and at the same time, our shop is going to have a presence there, representing V8 Speed and Resto to work with potential customers in the Mid East that like this stuff, and in addition to that, there's another 2.99 million square feet of other activities going on.
Yeah, I mean this just isn't a car show. This is a national event.
Yes,
pretty much. This is really, really huge. I mean, this is SEMA, this is McCacken, this is every good guy show, all rolled into one and then some. It's nuttiness.
Yeah, so it really is, kind of all those shows wrapped up into one and a few others, especially from a content standpoint, right? So I think this deserves a little bit of context because the whole concept is pretty far out there. But essentially what has happened is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has realized that their economy is probably not going to be petrol-based forever. So in order to inspire other areas of economic growth, the king has come up with a series of programs that they're calling the Vision 2030, and they're using the year 2030 as a yardstick to achieve certain goals throughout the kingdom to advance their whole society, essentially. And it's really interesting what they're doing. I'm not going to say that they're trying to, westernize their culture and their country,
right,
but some of the things they're doing certainly lean that direction. So you'll dig this statistic. I heard this the other day, and I don't know if it's 100% true or not, but I was told that the Saudi population, 75% of the population is between 17 and 33 years old.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So it's a largely young population, and it is dominated by males and even females now who really like the automotive culture.
That is the ultimate demographic.
Yeah, it is. They like cars, and so the way this all fits into the Saudi Vision 2030 is that they are trying to identify growth areas of business and entertainment and different ways to improve their culture. And some of the things are very far-reaching. Like, for example, they're trying to increase the life expectancy of all of their inhabitants. They are trying to increase the amount of women working in the workplace by 6 or 7% by the year 2030. So these are like, kingdom-wide societal advancements. And then they want to bring more artwork into all their cities. They want to increase the economic ranking of their cities on the world stage. So they want to have a handful in the top 100 economies of the world, and even top 10. So the way they want to do this is to have a series of events, and this all started, I think it was announced in 2016. So for the past couple of years, they've been already having some of the events under the Vision 2030. And this year they've got a thing called Saudi Seasons, where each calendar season is spotlighting a different city, and the kind of the fall season coming up is in Riyadh, and one of the programs is an automotive expo, right? So it's a giant car show to stimulate the automotive market. And the way they decided to do it was to essentially, they're dealing with a company called Bonnier, which I've been doing a bunch of work for, going to their U.S. events. They're a very strong automotive and truck event company. And they got connected with the royal family, and the royal family said, hey, we want to put this show on, and we want you guys to do it. I believe they approached SEMA to do this event first, but I think it's very close to the SEMA show in November. This is also in November, and I think SEMA didn't quite, either grasp or want to be involved. I can't speak for them, but
Right.
they chose not to, I guess. And Bonnie Air got the nod to do this. So, right out of the box, the guys at Bonnie Air said, well, what do you want the show to be? And they said, well, we want it to have an economic standpoint, so we want trade show displays. We want manufacturers to bring parts and bring stuff to the region, and we want these people to set up dealers and work with shops and do what you do at a trade show. Okay, what else? Well, we want to have some demonstrations. So there's a Formula One track, there's a monster truck course, there's a kart race, there is a drift track, everything down to a giant life-size version of the Hot Wheels loop.
Oh, wow.
They want all this major league, live entertainment going on. It's like, okay,
Sure.
cool,
All right.
We also want an auction component because they know the car auctions are hot, and they're entertaining. So, they wanted to have a giant auction, and they wanted big numbers on all this. So they wanted 250 exhibitors in the trade show element. They wanted over 400 cars to go through the auction and be for sale. And, in addition to all the other displays, they want American automotive celebrities. They want personalities. They want race car drivers. They want, everything you can do essentially in the automotive world as an enthusiast is going to happen at this event. So that's a pretty tall order,
A bit.
Especially because it's being done in a country where this stuff normally doesn't happen. If they said,
right,
we're going to do this in Mexico City, or we're going to do this in Canada, or we're going to do it in, in Germany or somewhere like where automotive events like this are fairly commonplace,
sure,
especially for American vendors, it would be a lot easier. So in order to incentivize this, the king is actually financing this whole thing.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. They are it's called the General Entertainment Commission for the kingdom. They are financing all of the companies that are on display. They're flying them all over. They are paying to have their product shipped over. They're building the booths and the trade show displays for these people. The only thing you're responsible for is if you have a staff, you have to pay the hourly rate, wage of your staff. But the kingdom is paying for the transport, the hotels,
wow,
everything, right? So interestingly, that might have made this a little bit of a harder sale because it just sounds so crazy.
It sounds a little too good to be true.
Right, exactly. What's the hook? What's the catch?
Yeah, exactly.
And when it came to the auction cars, they immediately partnered with the Worldwide Auction Company, which had about 215 cars earmarked for auction that they could bring to this thing. But how do you do that, right? So the Entertainment Authority hired through Bonnie Air Passport Transport in the United States to start picking up cars. And as the auction company, supplied also other individual car builders and people that wanted to move a car, they signed up. And if they got approved, their cars got picked up from their house or their place of business, and they went on a Passport Transport truck, and they went either to Long Beach or to Savannah, Georgia, and they get on container ships and they go to the other side of the world and they're up for auction. And
wow.
The requirements were it had to be a special car, so I think the absolute bottom dollar was $100,000, value-wise that they would do. But I heard today there's a $15 million Delahaye that's there.
Really?
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. And
oof,
we can do the math, but like I said, about 400 or 415 cars. Somebody said the dollar value of the cars is $550 million.
God darn it.
So
that's a good day's pay.
Yeah. We have a lot of high dollar cars that are going to be there, and it's like, holy cats. And some of the owners, of course, were apprehensive because they're like, well, am I going to give you my car and my title and it's gone? How do I know what happens on the boat, if it gets damaged, is this legit? So the auction company was managing the titles, and the King's commission chartered the boats to transport, and off they go. And if they don't sell, they come back and they pay to bring them home. So it's not like a ransom thing where it's like, well, your car didn't sell and it's up to you to get it back. That's all part of the deal. So the F1 track thing is coming together, and all those other entertainment activations are all happening. And our role, like I said, the V8 Speed and Resto shop is going to have a booth display there. And the ZR9 Camaro that we built a few years ago, it lives in Dubai, and the owner has graciously agreed to bring the car to Saudi for the week so we can have that on display and we can show people what our shop is capable of. And
that's super cool.
It is, yeah. Maybe we get some customers that allow us to push the envelope even farther and build cooler stuff and send it back to them, and then my own involvement is there's going to be a media stage in one of the halls, and I've been tasked with performing interviews with exhibitors and notables and celebrities and all kinds of different people throughout the whole week, and providing entertainment content for the show. And I think there's going to be an opening reception banquet that I'll be hosting on the first night as well. So it's going to be a whirlwind, but so far it's been a lot of fun because, again, as one of the guys from Bonnie Air pointed out, we're doing a giant car show on the moon.
Yeah.
And,
it would probably be easier to actually have a car show on the moon. I mean, there are so many moving pieces to this. It would probably be easier to take a football stadium apart brick by brick, move it across the country, then put it all back together.
In many ways, I think you're right. But from what I've seen, there's an entertainment and sports entertainment company that is based in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, and they do like giant sporting events, giant soccer tournaments. They do award ceremonies and Olympics kind of stuff.
Okay.
And they're the ones who are doing the actual build out of the facility and getting all the hard parts together. So it's a known quantity putting that stuff together, which is good.
Yeah.
But the footprint of this, like I said, is about 3 million square feet. And I saw some video already 2 weeks ago that they had machines that were resurfacing all the concrete that makes up the base to be flat enough for F1 cars to do 200 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Just monumental construction and logistics, and it's insane. It's just crazy.
It just blows your mind. Just blows your mind, man. Just the logistics of this all. It just makes me scratch my head.
Right. And so there's been a lot of interesting feedback. Some people are like, well, why are you doing it there? What's the point, right? Who benefits from all this? So the king wants to throw some money around and have a car show. Well, the way I look at it is this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to share what we do with people that are genuinely interested, who have never seen this stuff before, outside of maybe on the internet, and
right.
I know that exotic cars are very, popular there, and a handful of muscle cars, but not on the scale that it's coming to them by a lot of the American masters that build this stuff. So Rick Dorr is shipping over one of his cars that's being sold. Foose is going to be there. Dave Kindig's going to be there. I think Steve Strope is going. Jimmy Shine,
nice.
Richard Rawlings,
Richard Rawlings,
Ryan Friedlinghouse, from West Coast Customs, and they're all bringing cars, and other shops that build stuff like ours are bringing cars, and the manufacturers are putting all these parts right in front of them, and they would never ever have this opportunity. So I look at it as kind of a neat way to advance that region. in a business and personal entertainment space that is affording them an opportunity that they would never have. And it's affording us an opportunity to reach those people and share this stuff around the world, and how cool is that?
Oh, it's ridiculously cool.
Yeah.
It gives the on a personal level, the V8 Speed and Resto Shop a chance to become a real international type of business where you could pick up a ton of customers. They see your work there. They see that the car that lives in Dubai there, and I mean, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that, from a business standpoint, and that also counters another point that I've heard where people are like, spend your money here in the U.S. Why are you bothering with the Middle East? And I think what they're overlooking is that we're probably going to bring a lot of money back to this country.
Exactly. You're not laying out a lot of money to go over there. The king is laying out money.
Right. We're not laying out any
for you
money
to go there. Yeah, exactly. So you're not spending your money over there. You're raking in the money from over there, which is what we want to do. Yeah, potentially. Yeah. So that's a win-win.
Yeah. And for them, I applaud the fact that they want to better their society with longevity and health and afford them the opportunity to do what we do in a car world that we think is so cool. I mean, I don't care what you say. Cars are universal. People dig old cars. They dig new cars. They like sports cars. They like racing. And this is a chance to put, top level examples of all of this in front of a population that is hungry for it, So it's a great diplomatic approach to bridging a cultural gap. As soon as you fire up anything, the heads turn and everybody smiles, and now you're brothers. It's just the way it goes. Yeah. So
Kevin Ostie, diplomat and preacher. Nicely done.
Yeah, that does it. We got to end the show.
You got to shine up your resume, my man.
Yeah. Well, it's getting shined up, all right.
Right.
The shinola is dripping all off of it, all over the place. Or is that something
else? Yeah. Oh man, but that's really exciting news. And I remember when you first told me about it, I was just really stoked about the whole concept. And when he explained it to me, it's a really great opportunity for not just you, but for America in general to really spread who we are to a country who doesn't really get to taste that kind of freedom and see that kind of culture come over there. So we hear about how oppressive Muslim countries can be, even though it's not a huge leap. They are moving towards being a bit more of a progressive society. The fact that they're allowing more women to work. Women can drive in Saudi Arabia now. Those are steps in the right direction. I mean, totally. Granted, there's a long way to go, but I think they recognize that they need to change. And this is a great step toward that change.
I think so. And you've been there. You were stationed there, right? Twice?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, during the Gulf War in '91, I was over there a couple of times, and I saw firsthand how their society works. And there's some interesting things that go on over there.
Yeah,
I know. I told you and Kelly the stories. In the middle of a giant market, there were big open air tables of gold. People are selling gold in these markets, and I think at least twice or three times a day, there would be a general prayer call over these loudspeakers, and everybody would have to stop what they're doing. They have to go into an area, and they have to pray. So you have all this gold lying out that they would just put like a black fabric cover over. And there's nobody's guarding it. There's no bulletproof glass casing. It's open. They do their prayer. They come back. Everything is as it was. Nobody touched a thing.
Yep.
Because it's some pretty harsh punishment for theft in the kingdom.
Yeah, they'll chop your hands off.
Yeah, you lose a hand. Nobody wants to lose a hand.
No.
So
No, it works.
oh yeah, it's a very effective deterrent.
It's barbaric and archaic, but it works.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Well,
and that stuff still goes on today.
that does. There are different nuances that are apparently changing kind of real time. So Kelly's going, and one of her concerns was that traditionally men don't talk directly to women, look them in the eye, especially in business transactions. It's just
Right.
the culture. But we're learning that is advancing like really rapidly. And a neat thing that happened is, Kelly was very concerned about safety, about personal safety, about the safety of the whole group, and then dealing with people and whatnot. And through Facebook, she friended a gal who's in her early 50s, who's from Ohio, who lives there. I guess she's an expat. She's an American that transplanted, and she's I guess some kind of a life coach, business coach type thing. And her and Kelly are talking daily about just general daily experiences and how you deal with people and everything else. And this woman will post on her Facebook page that, oh yeah, I'm tired because last night I was out till 2 a.m. singing at an open mic night in a club.
Oh wow.
Right. And that didn't happen a few years ago.
No, sir. When I was there, women couldn't drive. These women got caught driving a car, and they got in some deep trouble. I mean, serious deep trouble for driving.
Right. Well, now they can drive and they can sing, and there's live music, and they're still, they don't do alcohol, but they can go to the clubs, and where they used to be very segregated of single men and families, now they're kind of mixing that up a little bit more.
But let's be serious. You can probably get some alcohol if you're over there.
Well, I heard the
the
U.S. Embassy has beer taps,
Yeah.
installed, but we'll see. But believe me, I need to be as sharp as I possibly can for this trip. So, that's not my motivation is to go there and try to sneak some booze.
I know. I get it. I'm sure somebody could probably lead you in the right direction if that were the case. But
that's a risk I don't think I want to take.
No. Obviously, heck no.
But so now Kelly's far more comfortable about going because she's getting a straight scoop from an American woman that lives there who's pointing out, one of the things she was concerned with was how much of a cover does she have to wear. And it's been pointed out to her that today, if you are an American business person, you're not a native and Muslim, you don't necessarily have to have your head covered all the time. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, and the covering is becoming a little less conservative, and it's becoming a little more stylish. And so Kelly asked the question today, so can I have the V8 Speed and Resto logo put on my abaya cover?
I was just thinking that would be great.
Yeah, so she always pushes the envelope a little bit, so hopefully it doesn't get pushed too far. But we'll find out.
I don't see a big problem with that. I think that'd be great.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it would be too, as long as it's not, violating some centuries-old custom of.
You can have your interior guy make some up.
No, look at that. Look at that. You're right. There you go. Well, the other, nice thing is it just happened that the layout of this event has the media stage about 30 feet away from where our shop display is going to be.
Is that right? Oh,
yes.
Good placement.
So as I'm sitting on stage, I'll be looking basically across the Celine display into our own V8 Speed Resto display.
Good.
So we'll be able to stay in contact that way. And our concern is that she'd be on the other side of the world, and that would be a little bit unnerving.
Make it a little nervous.
So.
Yeah. How many people are you bringing over there with you? Is it just going to be you and Kelly? You're going to bring some shop guys with you?
Well, what we're going to do actually is we're bringing a customer. We're bringing our friend Grady. And
oh boy,
we built that 72 Coyote Bronco for him a while back. Mm-hmm. And Grady has traveled all over the world. He's not necessarily been to Riyadh, but he's a businessman who has some flexibility in his schedule and can do this trip.
Cool.
You know him. We've been to SEMA together.
Yep.
He's come to the SEMA show with us. He's got a way with words. He's
I hope when he lands in the kingdom, he doesn't ask where he can go get a beer.
Yes, right. No, he gets it. His father was an Air Force pilot. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, we talked about that.
I did. Yeah, we talked about that at the wedding. Yeah.
Yeah, so he understands the significance of traveling in other countries and safety and all that. But he's also close to our shop family because he understands what it's like to be a customer, and he also understands what we do. So we feel he's a good qualified person to chat with people from any part of the world about becoming a V8 Speed and Resto Shop customer.
Perfect.
And at the same time, this is going to be a couple weeks after the SEMA show, and we kind of still need our team to be running the shop and working.
I see.
Here in the USA. With Kelly and I both out, we could have brought some technicians or whatnot, but again, a lot of this is unknown, and I'd be remiss if I said I wasn't concerned about, safety and all the rest of it. So we're trying to have as, minimal impact on the local business at our shop as we can, but hopefully bring home some cool project, customers. So
yeah, nice. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I can't wait to hear everything. We need a full debrief when you come back.
Oh, you'll get it. And there may even be some live video coming out of there. We'll see.
Oh, right on.
There are censorship laws that are, new about live streaming and about what you can disseminate that we're kind of navigating.
Okay.
So we'll see about that.
All
and quite honestly, we referred to it earlier, the SEMA cruise and the SEMA show. That's first as far as my next, big giant event. As I say that, this weekend we're actually going to California to be shooting video at an off-road expo for Bonnie Air as part of what we're doing to help them out. But then SEMA's right around the corner, and this year my SEMA involvement is ratcheted up a little bit too. So I got to stay focused on that first. But I'm also, a little bit more of the process on the Riyadh show. So there are things that I kind of have to be doing now concurrently. So yeah, it's stuff in every direction. But I'm just super lucky to have the opportunity. I mean, it's mind blowing,
Right on. Well, you deserve it. You do a great job. People like you, and why wouldn't they want you to do all these things for them? So good for you.
Well, again, I appreciate that. So
you bet.
No job too small. You need to get married, or you need to do a global car show. What do we do?
And all points in between.
That's right. I'm the Mr. Haney of whatever it is.
Nice. Way to pull that one out.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've dragged our friends long enough. We should answer our trivia questions.
We glided them long enough.
Yeah, we did. But in a very long glide path.
A long glide, yeah. Final approach. Here it comes. All right, Kevin. I asked you what car line debuted the first available in-car radio.
Oh, yeah.
And as a bonus, I asked you what year, and the super bonus, how much was that option when it was available?
I got all three of these wrong. Kids.
You said Chrysler Corp, 1936, and it was a $12 option. Unfortunately, Kevin, that's not correct.
Yeah, I know that.
It was Chevrolet. It was in 1922.
Oh, wow.
And it was a $200 option.
Holy smokes. Yeah.
Yeah, which is about an $1,800 to $2,000 option today.
They should have listened to me. It would have been much better at $12.
Right, no doubt. Well, it's funny because you meant there were enthusiasts that would tinker around with putting mobile radios in cars and things like that. And it was actually a gentleman named Paul Gilmer in the 30s who realized I can make a lot of money if I can make this a lot more affordable. So he was able to do that. He cut the price in about in half for the option. And Paul Gilmer ended up founding the Motorola company.
Huh.
So
there you
Motorola, it was your first affordable, mass-produced in-car radio.
Which is kind of what I said, so I got it right.
You got it right. Congratulations. Right on, man.
Thank you.
Chalk another win up for the preacher man.
Yep. Well, that was a learning experience. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. You bet.
Your question was, over the years, the Jeep brand vehicles have had a lot of different letter combinations in their name. What does CJ stand for?
Yeah.
And you said
it's French for I don't know.
Yes. You said, well, it refers to the level of its off-road capabilities. Perhaps the CJ had a locking differential or heavier duty suspension, or it was lifted higher than a different one. And then the bonus was the where did the name Jeep come from, which you said it was an acronym for GP, or general purpose. And if you say that quickly, it's Jeep. Well, unfortunately,
hey,
the CJ actually stands for civilian Jeep.
God, son of a.
Yeah. And it started with the CJ, I think a CJ1 or CJ2 in 1955, and all the way up through the late 70s with the CJ5 and CJ6 and 7.
Civilian Jeep.
They kept that civilian Jeep moniker. So,
You
that was
son of
news
a
to me,
bitch.
too, believe it or not. I did not know that either.
Yeah, great.
But as far as the name's concerned, a lot of people say GP, general purpose, but doing a little research on that, I've learned that that I think has been discredited because Ford was the only one who had literature that the government required a general purpose vehicle, but nobody called those general purpose vehicles. They called them Jeeps kind of right away. And what we're learning is that if you remember the Popeye character, the cartoons, there was a
Eugene
little
the Jeep.
Eugene Jeep, right? There's this little guy, right? And his ability was to be able to go through walls or walk over stuff, and he could come and go anywhere. And they think that looking at the timing of when that cartoon character came out first, and then this vehicle and the way it was named, a lot of people think that they called this thing the Jeep because it could get around stuff and go over things, and it was unstoppable, just like the little cartoon character. So
I see. Fine.
I'm still not claiming that that's the correct answer, but that's what I've read so far.
Yeah, my guess is probably wrong. Let's put it that way.
Well, the bigger thing is that I better be right on this by the time I get to the SEMA cruise this year, because there's a lot of Jeeps.
There won't be any Jeeps this year. It's all going to be something else.
Yeah, a lot of lifted trucks and a lot of Jeeps. I've learned. It's been nice going to these truck events. I've learned quite a bit about the suspension systems and the nomenclature on lifted trucks that I never knew. So
cool.
Maybe there's a trivia question there.
Maybe. Great. Can't wait.
Yeah, I bet. All right. Well, hey, this is just another fun one. I had a good time with this particular episode, and I hope everybody listening did as well. As you probably know by now, if you can hear this, you're listening to it somewhere. Stitcher Radio,
Podchaser.
Podchaser is a good one. We're doing really well on Podchaser.
Oh yeah,
of course, rock it. iTunes, we're kind of bouncing between, the top 15, 18, 19, 15, somewhere around there on iTunes. Would really love to get higher on that for no other reason, just to say that we could. So we encourage people to listen to iTunes. Of course, Google Play. You can listen to us on our website at va8radio.com. You can use the TuneIn Radio app.
Right.
You can listen to us on iHeartRadio, too, which is cool.
And Spotify.
And Spotify, definitely Spotify. And of course, straight off the Facebook page as well. So if you have comments about the show, you're always welcome to leave them on any one of those sites that offer commentary. And I'm sure we'll get them somehow. And maybe even take back some of our words if we've been
hey, if I'm proven wrong, I will take it all back.
That's it. All right, my friend. Well, I think we've dragged them, we've glided them long enough. They've made it to the finish line on another episode of V8 Radio.